republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Chairman Riley is not here tonight. He is on crutches. He either pulled or torn a tendon in his leg. So either way, not good. So, tackle the red folder. That's my pen. First we have is the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, October 31st. I make a motion to accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have the minutes of the Selectmen's workshop, which occurred on Monday, October 31st. I make a motion to accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the check voucher totals. Payroll for week ending 11/5 is $37,884.41. Accounts payable for week ending 10/29 was $10,192.39. For a total disbursed last week of $48,076.80. I make a motion to sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's about the lowest batch total for accounts payable I've seen in a while. A copy of a letter. This is in response to a temporary event application from Jig Seafood. Just a copy of the letter that we sent back out to them after last week's meeting. The Board of Selectmen reviewed your temporary event application for a roadside attraction to be held at 2055 Route 16 from December to March. Due to recent changes in the outdoor event ordinance, specifically section 1.02, the duration of this event exceeds the allotted amount and can no longer be approved through this application process. The board requested that I refer you to the planning board to see if the event is covered under your existing site plan review or to make any amendments to your existing site plan as deemed necessary for the event to be held. If timing becomes an issue with getting the necessary approvals, the Board of Selectmen can grant a license for one event per calendar year. But no sticker on it. So that's here in the file. We have a copy of a road safety audit, which was, we should have a couple more of these coming, correct?
Correct.
This one is for Route 16 and Mount Shaw Road intersection. Part of a safety audit that was done with DOT and Lakes Region Planning. Here in the file, if anybody would like to read it.
Rick, I don't know if you know, last night, or actually yesterday, okay, last night was on the news, you had two more deaths at 171 and 28.
I know that. We'll be discussing it in a few minutes, but yes. This is a letter that we was brought up last week. We tabled it for a week, and it's in regards to the town of Franklin inviting us to a meeting about the stabilization grants. Did you find out anything on that?
I sent a message to Linda Murphy, who's the administrative assistant for the school board, just asking if she had any information to provide on it or if the school board could discuss it. I believe they're meeting tonight, is that correct? Yep. I think they do have a meeting tonight, so hopefully the question will be asked to the school board members.
Okay. So we're going to leave this in the file until we
Yes.
get some sort of an answer as to whether or not it's something we need to be worried about. Okay. This is a memo to the Board of Selectmen from Town Clerk Tax Collector. Pursuant to RSA 658-2, I wish to have the Board of Selectmen make the appointment of the inspectors of election for the following people: Kathy Clay, Jennifer Delaney, Natalie Hall, Stephanie Milligan, Sandra Robinson, Dorothy Sinteris, and Linda White. Kelly Ski Town Clerk Task Force. Make a motion that we appoint those named individuals as inspections of the election.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a contract for use of facilities. The Department of Transportation wants to use Town Hall for a public hearing on December 8th. I read this, but do you know which project this is?
I believe it's the upcoming projects along Route 16 that are going to be taking place in the next 3 years.
Because all it says is recommends Ossipee X-A000490.
Those two.
I make a motion we allow them to use the Town Hall anyway. We'd like to find out which hearing this,
Okay.
which project this relates to.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the recycling cash log, which shows we collected $5,917.55 in the month of October from the recycling center. Spreads down back still. Did we ever get any more information on the propane tank?
No. He's actually attending the water and sewer meeting, and then he'll be at the open house, so he'll probably have more next week.
Okay. I'm going to leave that in the file. We have the highway department work log, which is here. Anybody look at it if they want. We have a contract for use of facilities, the Historical Society, monthly meetings. We held in the tax collector's office. Kelly's a member. I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have an agreement and release regarding building permit for a private road. Ryan Barry is looking to build 23 Benson Road. And basically, it's an agreement where they understand that any maintenance of the road is their responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. I make a motion we sign it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a timber tax warrant. Kelly Ski and collector taxes to collect $433.68. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have an email from a company called Sewell, James E. Sewell Company. They're a development company for, it looks like mostly doing cable. Do you have a chance to review this?
I did review it, and Michael Edgecombe was actually our representative, our municipal representative, who worked with Time Warner Cable in the past, so I assume that he's transitioned over to this new company that handles franchise contract negotiations.
Okay.
So he is familiar with the town. One of the things that we had discussed is contracting with the company that's handling our Fairpoint Field, because they also do the same, so if you want me to research it for the franchise negotiation.
Did you have a chance to read this?
I didn't read it. But
We are in the process of going to be renegotiating our
Yeah, our
franchise
contract
agreement.
expires next August.
So whether it's this guy or some of the other ones, it would certainly probably behoove us to have somebody that has some expertise in that area. We have a job posting, the Recreation Department, for a part-time program assistant. It's 15 hours per week without benefits, basically to assist the rec department in coordinating and implementing programs. It'll be posted here at Town Hall. I'm sure it's already hit the paper.
Not yet, I was
Okay.
waiting for the announcement.
All right, make a motion that we go ahead and post this job availability and advertise it. Go to second. All in favor? And we have a somewhat regular letter from Charter Communications about programming changes on the cable system. So it's here in the folder if anybody would like to look at it. Talked about the stabilization grants, we talked about the job opening, public input.
Was it determined the number from Budget Committee the other night? Was it the 19,000 or the 22 regarding the budget for the planning board?
It was the
22,659.
It was the total amount?
Yes, I transcribed the minutes incorrectly. So I listened back to the audio, and there's a memo that we're going to put with the minutes.
I was hoping I was right, because otherwise I really, because I specifically remembered it, and then that afterwards I said, boy, I hope I'm right.
Yeah. I actually had an idea that it was the full amount.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I transcribed from my handwritten notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you locked in a health insurance rate for the town?
The quick answer is yes. We have the new rates. There are going to be some changes in plans. We have just done that this last week. It results in a pretty good savings, actually. Two-person plan is going down about almost $1,500 a year, which is a good thing. The actual settlement of all of that, our union negotiations are on hold because until we had insurance, that's obviously one of the largest aspects of it. So now that we have that locked in, yes, we will do your budgets. Actually, Elaine or Alan should be able to give you the new numbers for finalizing your budget so they'll be accurate, not have to be changed. Some of the ones that have already been through, we'll have to go back and change them because we haven't used last year's rates until we settle them.
Okay.
Ed?
I wanted to discuss the recent accident on 171 and 28. As soon as it was posted onto Facebook that there wasn't a fatality of two individuals in that intersection, I called the area state representatives, your area senator, and we got contact back from the commissioner of DOT stating that as far as he knows at this point, the accident did not occur because of the way the intersection was laid out. Now, that was just a phone call, so it was not official. That's what we heard. And I just wanted you to know that it's a shame that it's taking more and more people. We warned the DOT about this, that someone else is going to be injured coming up, and something needs to be done rather quickly.
I don't know the particulars of it. I got a thumbnail when I talked with our chief Sunday afternoon, was that the old folks were coming from Water Village, did not stop, and were hit by a F-350 that was on 28. I think it is saddening, to be honest with you, that the Commissioner of Transportation would say that that has nothing to do with the intersection. Visibility, knowing whether or not there's a stop, lights, which is what we've been advocating now for a good long time, I think very well may have prevented that accident. I think to say that it wouldn't have is premature. Not only premature, I think it flies in the face of the history of that intersection. We used to have yearly DOT meetings. I was chief of police here for 17 years. We used to have yearly DOT meetings in this very room, and every single year, myself, the various fire chiefs in Ossipee Corner over the years have advocated changes to that intersection. Changes as minor as a sign out on 28 to deactivate blinkers back toward Route 16. I mean, and as major as doing something with that knoll, which decreases the sight distance. This goes for over 20 years, and Frank, who has lived in Water Village his entire life, I mean, it may go back 40 years that they've actually been advocating for changes. The simple question is, how many people have to get hurt? How many people have to die before the state takes some ownership of what's going on down there? The turn lane that's being proposed, I'm not saying it's not an improvement. It will not prevent the accidents that occurred like this one. And that is the majority of the accidents where people are seriously getting hurt. It's not somebody turning who gets hit. It's somebody who's crossing Route 28 who gets hit. And now you're talking about a vehicle doing 40 miles an hour, a side impact. These old folks couldn't survive that. And there are many more that won't.
I wanted to kind of brainstorm this a little bit. Now, 28 is a state road.
It is.
171.
It's a state road.
Is there anything that we can do temporarily until it can be looked into further? What can be done? I mean, we can't spray, new lines. Can we do that? Maybe we can get permission from them to spray, on the 171 both directions, so when you're approaching it, you will clearly see that there's a stop coming up. I mean, there's got to be something temporary. What about getting a state trooper, having him direct traffic and then charge the state?
There have been, how many accidents have been there since we started this process?
What in the spring, right?
We're up to 5 or 6.
What was the amount?
At least 5 to 6, I believe.
This summer,
Yes, right.
that have occurred in that intersection. So,
I guess I have to say, it just pisses me off a little bit because the simple fact that they think that lights ain't gonna change anything, lights is gonna change something. Fix it, doing that other lane, as far as I'm concerned, I disagree with Rick a little bit. That lane ain't gonna help out anything for what we had there the other day. And it just upsets me to think that they wanna spend a lot of money to fix the road, but they can't say, let's put up a set of lights to save lives. I mean, it just goes to show you that that was horrific down there what happened. Somebody lost their parents because of the state don't want to put a set of lights there, as far as I'm concerned. It is ridiculous. Something needs to be done.
Can't you, sometimes you have temporary situations before construction occurs, you can string a light over the road.
There's a flashing yellow light there.
Yeah, just
So why
one way.
can't that temporarily be wired, just temporarily, with a stoplight? Just until we can get past this. I never understood that.
All they gotta do is change
Because there's nothing that's going to change it to green, nothing, it's just going to stay red.
all they gotta do is pull a control box on the pole.
And that's what they don't want to do, as far as I'm concerned. They're going to put a control box up, they might as well put a set of lights.
Exactly.
Ash,
Well, this issue's happened over and over again over Freedom, 153 and 25. I mean, even those little rumble strips, I'm sure they've helped, but,
But if you notice the kind of light that they have there, Ash,
it's very obvious.
it's very visible. It flashes like stuff on a cruiser.
Like a strobe,
It's something that's going to catch you, And the other one down there is,
and the other part of it is, listen, no matter what you do, you will never prevent all the accidents.
no, oh God, no. I
You will
don't
have
think so.
somebody who pulls up at the stop sign and either doesn't look or thinks they had time when they didn't have time, or there are impairment issues.
Right.
The thing that concerns me, if you look at the mechanism of these accidents, over and over and over and over again, it's not, that the accidents that are there are not going to be minimized by that turn lane.
No.
That's not where the accidents are happening. That's not,
Now, on either side of the road, obviously it's private property, correct? So if a private property owner wanted to put a sign on their property, they could do that, right?
they can, I don't know what, I don't know what the right-of-way is down, I don't know what the right-of-way that the state owns is there. Simply because it's just out of the roadway doesn't mean the state doesn't still own
I
it.
think it's 10 feet.
No, I'm saying that if private property owners, if you ask them, can we put a sign on your property off of the state right-of-way and basically warning people, stop ahead, high accident area, something.
I think it's going to be too far off the road because they have to go beyond what the state says they own off the pavement.
It's
And I
something.
think it's 10 feet, so you'd have to go beyond that.
Yeah, but I think, what Ed's saying, and that's fine, there's a stop sign there now that they're not seeing.
Right.
If back down towards,
Exactly.
the old courthouse, if we can get a couple of people, who allow us to put a sign out front that says, stop ahead,
Right.
even on a temporary basis. I'm
don't know if you are-
willing to try anything. I also I spoke briefly to the chairman about it, and I talked to him about him not being able to be here. The other thing that concerns me that I think we need to pursue, we need to keep the pressure on. We need to continue to advocate for more improvements down there. I can tell you that one of the ways that I was successful when I was chief of police in getting the lights put in at 16 and 28 and at 16 and 25 was to literally get the Attorney General's office involved, because they're in a position, they have to defend the state when it comes to all legal issues. I believe right now that there is enough of a documented, very documented history of us advocating for improvements. The traffic safety study advocates for improvements. With the accident history that's there, that I believe that the state is assuming a tremendous amount of liability, never mind the moral obligation to help save people, but I think they're assuming a financial liability. I know a heck of a lot of lawyers who would love that case. They would love that case. This old couple, ironically, the last fatal that I covered in that intersection was also an elderly couple who were doing something as innocent as taking their dog up to the vets. And it killed him, her, and the dog several years ago now. It's not the first one, and it won't be the last one. It just won't be the last one.
And then the individual that struck the vehicle also has to
Live with it.
Right.
I mean, that's they have to, you know, and by what I know right now, he did nothing wrong. Nothing. Who would want to see that? Who would want that on their conscience?
I had also mentioned about the campaign sign should be removed from the intersection, and they're still there. So I think the word had gotten out that they should not use, I didn't post anything on there for that one reason. I would not want that on my conscience, as somebody was glancing over the sign, or it blocked your view.
So I did mention it to Frank. I think Frank is going to be working on trying to draft up a letter, which will come, then he'll bring to us, and we'll certainly advocate. I think what I'd like to do is have Brad Harriman go down and take a look, see if there are some things that we can do. And I realize that they're state intersections. I get that. But it's inadequate. I mean, see if there's anything that we can do on a temporary basis that'll help.
I hate to say this, but to heck with the state's right of way.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
put
agree.
the sign saying stop ahead before the intersection.
It's gonna save a life, like, no problem.
Yeah.
Well,
And sometimes you got to tell the state to go, you know.
I'm good at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are they listening? Maybe I will.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have, the new mirror that they put at the bottom of Ossipee Road, not really placed where it's effective. You know, coming down Ossipee Road, when you look at it, you know, you're sort of trying to see if it was, I don't know who put it up.
It was the highway.
Yeah, if you put it to the right, you can look at it and see if something's coming. This way, it's, I don't know if you've seen it, or if you've been on it. It's so far off to the left, I mean, only because I notice it every day, and I'm like, that's, you know, because by the time you look at it, and you go to see if anything's coming, and then you look back, it's past the point where you can see a car coming out, you know what I mean, go around that wall.
We
So
can bring it to Billy's attention and have him
yeah,
adjust
so
it.
maybe just have them put it on, have you noticed it? Have you do come down off of Ossipee Mountain Road?
No.
No. If you come down, if it was on the right-hand side, you'd be able to look at it and see that something was coming. It's so far over to the left, it's hard to.
Yeah, I think they had an issue with placement just because they had to put the post on the guardrail.
Right.
And then,
Right, but I'm just saying
Okay.
it's
Not
It's
as
not as
effective as
effective
it could be.
as it could be,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I greatly appreciate that it's there, because that is one massive, you know, I mean, coming off there every day. But if it was over to the right, I think you could be able to get a better perspective
I agree.
of cars coming.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who's going to speak, me or him. I don't mean to go back to the issue you were just talking about, but the Route 28, 171 intersection. I mean, obviously, I've been writing about that intersection for 16 years, and asked today for some update on the data of how many accidents have occurred there. We only know about the accidents that happened. I know that all of my children at one point or another have avoided, by taking drastic measures, accidents at that intersection. I know you're advocating for the people of the area. I don't live in Ossipee, but obviously travel through there. We have hundreds of road trips every week because that's where we send our kids to middle and high school. Our hospital, our nearest hospital is there, doctor's offices, the county complex, the court. I mean, it's servicing hundreds of people every week that live here. And I would just like to know as a citizen how I can work with my fellow citizens and elected officials in other towns as well as at the school district and the hospital, you know, get some people on board and make some noise.
Yep.
And how to direct that.
If there's one thing.
So we
that-
can support what you're trying to do.
And I appreciate that. If there's one thing that I learned in 20 years of dealing with the state, it truly is a case where the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you don't hoot and holler, there's somebody else there that is hooting and hollering, somewhere else in the state that's garnering their attention. I hope that there will be an expansive article again about what's going on at that intersection in this latest accident. People need to call. We should very easily be able to supply the numbers, phone numbers for Department of Transportation, in specific, the people that we've been working with on this public hearing. There will be, I think, an additional public hearing coming up. Do you remember the date on that?
I don't.
Can you make sure and try to get with Ellen, and we'll get that next date, and certainly invite anybody and everybody to come. The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
There's also a Facebook page.
Yeah, I certainly told the people from the state the last time they're here, I applaud them doing something. I do not believe in any way, shape, or form what they're proposing to do is going to remedy the situation. My fear is this is a Band-Aid. This is a Band-Aid they're going to put on, and then they're going to leave.
To make us.
And then we'll be arguing for the next 20 years, and we'll have a whole bunch more dead people down there in the middle of that road. Before they finally will do what needs to be done. I understand they have criteria. I understand that, you know, there are certain traffic counts to do this. And I get that. But then there have got to be those situations, and I think this is one of them. I don't care what the traffic count is. I don't care how many cars it has today versus how many it's supposed to have. There are people being hurt, maimed, and killed on a pretty regular basis in that intersection. They need to do something. It is their intersection. There are people, but it's their roads. They need to do something.
And I agree that as drivers, we're responsible to
I get that.
drive
I get that.
responsibly, to look both ways, etc. But when it becomes such a obvious pattern, some of it has to be roads. And when I was there Sunday, I could hear your voice saying, how many more people have to die before we do something? And there we were.
I don't think it's completely out of the question too to look at the age of many of the drivers involved.
I understand, and the size of the car, the low-profile car seems to take it worse because of the blind spot that's created. There's a whole, you know, several parts that go into this, but
There are.
if it's my understanding, the DOT has agreed to add a turn lane going towards the county complex.
Correct.
That's it.
Yes.
When the most violent accidents, in my opinion, occur when people are coming off the courthouse square side.
Correct.
Those are the people that get hurt or die.
Yes.
And we're addressing the opposite side when we haven't fixed the blinker issue that's causing that turning problem in the first place.
The turning
Or it's one
problem,
of the causes.
well, correct. The turning problem, a part of the turning problem has always been the fact that the people's directional light was not deactivated on 28 when they come off Route 16. I still think that is a small number of the overall accidents that have been in that intersection. Certainly the most violent and the two fatals that I can think of off the top of my head, both involve people coming through the stop sign at a courthouse square onto Route 28. It's not going to be addressed by a turn lane on the other side of the road.
I appreciate you giving me extra time and
And
so.
please reach out to Ellen if you would, so that you can include in that article that upcoming hearing date and some of those phone numbers. And by all means, people need to, you know, I didn't know these old folks. They're from Wakefield. Didn't have to be from Ossipee. You know, I certainly should also offer our condolences to their family and their friends. And we're trying.
But I urge anybody
We're trying.
that can call, their senators, whoever they have to call, to make a call. Because like Rick said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And we need to work together, everybody.
And
Also, would you like to call or send a letter to the editor, Carroll County Independent? Don't send a letter.
Anything else on the public input? Do we have any need for non-public tonight? I don't think so.
No, we do.
And we have the open house going down back until when?
6:30?
Please go down, take a look at for those, take a look at the new town garage, the addition, it's come out really nice. Please stop down and take a look at it. Upcoming meetings, we have the budget committee on the 10th, Wednesday, 6:30 at the Freight House.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday this week because Conservation Commission meets Wednesday.
Oh, see, I would have been there. I would have been there.
I would have reminded you before.
Yeah, what, Wednesday afternoon? Oops.
That would have given you a day's notice.
That's true. Anybody has anything, doesn't have anything else? Anybody? I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.